All right, good morning, everybody. Give folks just a moment to join into the stream. Hope that you are having a decent Friday morning so far. So today we have a nice opportunity to have with us a partner of Foundry Church. Her name is Rachel Luna. She's the ED for Project Transformation DC. And I'll let her tell you about the program, but to put it very succinctly, it's a reading program that operates over the summer, and they operate in Wards 7 and 8 with United Methodist partner churches at Brighter Day United Methodist and Hughes Memorial. We want to make sure that you have an idea about some of the ways that you can continue to connect, and especially how you can engage this work this summer to help kids fight the summer literacy slide. It looks different. Normally we would take groups over to do reading with kids directly, but it's a little bit of a different format this year. Quick background on how we got involved in this work. In 2015, so it's 5 years now, after a number of high-profile police shootings in 2014 and early in 2015, including Tamir Rice and Mike Brown, and among others. We were trying to think of the ways, how do we engage in a significant fashion this work around racial justice, and this was 2015. So immediately the thought on everybody's mind was, let's retrain the police, but and we know that that's something that needs to be looked at, but it's not just about policing. What we see a lot of times, and what we need to remember, is that there is a systemic existence of divestment from communities of color for decades, if not centuries, and there are systemic lacks of opportunities because of divestment, and systemic poverty that holds people in place and creates the broken windows that get over-policed. And so when we think about doing this racial justice work, we have got to remember that it's not just about how policing works. There are a lot of factors that must be addressed, breaking down privilege, and really concentrating on how to break down systemic racism is key to that. But we got with our partners in Southeast DC, in Anacostia, at Hughes Memorial, at Brighter Day, and we asked them back in 2015, what is it that you actually need for your community? What is it that you need as somebody who has to live this every day? And police reform was not the first thing on their mind. Police reform was on their mind, but the first thing that they brought up were the lack of academic after school and summer opportunities. They said we have plenty of sports activities, plenty of ways to engage that, but we do not have the types of academic opportunities for after school and for summer that we really need, and we don't have safe ways for our kids to get to and from school. These were the two of the primary things that our partners brought up. And so when the opportunity came up for a summer academic program related to reading, I knew it was something that we needed to be supporting as a congregation in conjunction with our sibling United Methodist congregations. So we'll bring Rachel in now so that we can talk more about the program and what it's doing this year. Morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Ben. How are you doing?
Quite well. I know that you've been running around and doing deliveries already, so we thank you for that work, and I'm very appreciative to you to jumping in here with me between runs. But can you tell the Foundry folks a little bit about Project Transformation at writ large, and then and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so normally Project Transformation, we would actually be having summer camp as we speak during a typical summer, which would look like about 40 to 50 kids at Hughes Memorial or Brighter Day, running around having the camp experience with a literacy component. And so that includes us bringing in young adults from across the country to really provide this a summer camp where they're not just learning and reading, but they're also getting to know people of different backgrounds and from different places. Because our goal is really building these relationships and building community that is supportive and nurturing of our children as they walk through each summer in our program. And working on literacy is such an important key to it, but it's also just opening the doors up for our kids, opening their eyes. I mean, last year we had an intern from Morocco, and the kids didn't believe she was African, and so they got to have this, unique conversation about being African American, in Southeast DC, and being from Morocco, and what does that mean to be African? And so, yeah. Over the past 2 years, we've really been able to see growth in our kids. And so this year, we are trying to continue that growth through different ways, um, growing together even though we're apart. So, a little bit about me. I started with Project Transformation DC in 2017. I've been with the organization at large, off and on as an intern and staff since 2009, and then came to Wesley and kind of had a lot of the conversations Ben was talking about Foundry having of what's a need that in DC that isn't being met. And so I met with Paul Johnson at Hughes Memorial, and we talked about Project Transformation, and we talked about Hughes Memorial, and that kind of started this whole thing of bringing Project Transformation to DC.
And so when we, in a normal year, we would be bringing a group of volunteers over at least once per week in conjunction with other churches and volunteer groups, which I love. This would have been our third summer to get to do it. It's exhausting, even though we would only be there for 2 hours. You guys are there all day. But we would get in there, we'd get a chance to sit down, read books with the kids, say, no, please sit, read this. But it's great because you can, over the course of the summer, watch the kids you engage with, even just as a volunteer once a week, you kind of watch them building their skills. So what is happening this year to work with who would otherwise be campers, but to work with the kids who are around? How is it happening this year?
Yeah, so we made the decision pretty early to cancel all in-person camp, and one of the reasons is quite a few of our campers live with grandparents, and so there was just this fear of if they were to get the virus at camp and take it home to their main caregiver, what would that look like for their lives? So we made the decision really early on, which gave us a lot of time to prepare. So we have what we're kind of saying three basic program offerings this summer. The first one is supply distribution. So we're doing camps in a bag. That's where I was this morning. And that looks like this week it's word searches to work on, being able to pick out words and learn words. And then a frisbee to play, with a neighbor to get outside and moving. And so each week we have different literacy components and then fun activities, including water paint, markers, everything you could possibly need for arts and crafts, and then books. Every camp in a bag comes with 2 to 3 books for the kids on their grade level, which has been probably one of the what brings people to pick up their bags, not necessarily the supplies, but the books, and making sure that they have books in their home that are at the proper reading level so that they're able to continue and avoid the extended summer slide that many of them are probably gonna face. The second program offering is actually we're doing virtual project transformation circles. Well, one of our big things we focus on is social and emotional learning for our kids, because we know that a lot of them, or a lot of schools are starting to work on it, and it just allows them to process everything going on in their life. And I know if I'm stressed out because of everything going on, that is just on top of their typical stress. And so we're having volunteers and our program director come on to a Zoom meeting with the kids. They kind of check in, and then they read books together. And we just signed up for this new program. We'll be able to share the screen, and so the kids can actually read the book off the screen to the volunteers. The first couple weeks we've had volunteers reading to kids, and now the kids will be able to read to volunteers, which is our program model in a typical summer. And then the third one is actually virtual summer camp. We have created a Project Transformation Google site where kids can go online and do different activities that are all being led via YouTube videos created by interns across the country. And so we have about 50 interns who are creating videos for our kids. And so they're also getting the same content as the kids in Dallas and Indianapolis, and they're kind of sharing this experience of camp together. I got to watch one of the Reading Rockstar videos today, and it was an intern in Oklahoma who goes to Oklahoma City University, is an acting major, and was talking about his favorite book and was singing songs that he thought of while talking about his book. And so they're really creative. The interns, were hired to be summer camp interns, and now they're video producers. So they're doing incredible work, and we're very proud to be part of this network that's been able to do that.
Well, that's good to hear that because Project Transformation does not only exist here in DC. It is it's not in every state, but it is a nationwide sort of deal, and so that's nice that they're able to support each other in this moment. And you brought up a great point that like what would normally be a summer literacy slide is definitely going to be extended the longer that our students are out of school. So that this is actually helping to kind of fill two gaps. So that's good to hear. Well, what is it that the Foundry congregation can be doing? I know that you need donations.
Mm-hmm.
What are the types of donations? Where do we go to sign up for things? If there is a way to be a volunteer for reading, how do we do that? And we can drop some of the links into the comments so that people have it on hand. Tell us how that's working.
Yeah, well, we have a website set up where all the links are housed, so we can drop that, and then we can drop the individual links. We've been using an Amazon wish list, which has been great. And it also, if you don't want to buy from Amazon, you can just look at the wish list and buy from somewhere else. And then if you email me, that would be wonderful because then I can mark it off the wish list. But we've part of our Amazon wish list is creating a book list with books that mainly focus on a Black character in the center. So it's centering a Black character so that our kids can see themselves in the books they're reading this summer. So that's something that we've really worked on in the past, but kind of have, with this summer being so weird, have kind of amped up as we're pointing more and more people towards our Amazon wish list. And then there's supplies. We're always re-upping the arts and crafts supplies we need for the next week. And then we have a Give Pulse that we'll drop the link for that you can sign up to read. We have reading with the little kids, so 1st through 3rd grade at 10 to 11 in the morning, Monday through Thursday. And then 1:30 to 2:30 is our 4th through 6th graders, Monday through Thursday. And then this is something that we have just kind of thought about today, is having folks in DC and Baltimore, because we are launching a pilot program in Baltimore this summer, writing letters of thank you to the interns across the country. Because once again, they didn't sign up to be video producers and actors. They signed up to be camp counselors, and yet their work is being consumed and used as a resource for our DC and Baltimore children. And so I'll probably update our website with that information this afternoon. And we also could use a few people on Wednesdays to help create the bag. We have very strict rules of who can and cannot volunteer, which is all on our website. But and so we're trying to keep that number. It takes a little while. It takes a little longer with less people, but we're trying to keep that number small to meet the guidelines set by the bishop for our churches.
Which, I mean, safety first, because like we're messing with people's lives. So I do encourage our Foundry community to explore these links. You can find a time that works for you. If you're within the parameters and can help out with some of the bags, great. If you can get into one of the reading circles, that would be excellent. I know that's going to make some of my like year-to-year volunteers very happy to hear that that is available as a way to engage directly and do some of the reading. So that's really important for us to continue to be able to help out here, and of course, any monetary donations
Yes.
to help Project Transformation remain viable for this year, because this is a tough year. And again, it's only the third year that we've had Project Transformation in DC, and we were, as a program and as a partnership, we're still building. And so to have the pandemic pop up at this time that's a real challenge. So we want to make sure that we're rallying around in the right way, because we want it back in full function next year and many years to come. So, well, Rachel, thank you for your work. Thank you for walking us through what it's looking like this year. Is there anything else you want to tell the community about?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the whole like making sure we can, survive kind of the pandemic in a way, and that's also I think keeping us in our prayers, because we had a lot of interns we were hoping to hire and we weren't able to because we weren't able to house them and all of that. And so just making sure all of our young adults, just keeping our kids in the prayer, your prayer. We actually have we're sending out a prayer meditation every day written by folks from across the country who have been involved with Project Transformation at one state or another. So we can also probably drop that link in too for folks who might be interested in praying with Project Transformation this summer.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, we would definitely be praying for the work for this year and going forward. Well, let me just say thanks once again for taking the time in between runs to get with us. I'll let you get back to the road and to the drop-offs, and we'll keep trying to roll in more and more Foundry volunteers for this summer, so that we can. We're not even midway yet, so we'll get to a strong midway and we'll finish strong.
Yeah,
sorry to tell you that we're not midway.
Yeah, we're not midway. It's a weird summer. Today would have been our second day of camp in a normal summer, but because we had to shift our dates around, it's just. I was like, today would have been the first day we had volunteers, and that noise of the reading would be seeping into my office, which I love. So, but
well, I miss being there in person, but I'm glad the work is happening. So, thanks a lot, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, Ben.
Bye bye.